This is the Intercontinental Broadcasting Corporation. Sa bagong Pilipinas.
Good evening. This is 13 News.
Let's get into the headlines right now. Shockwaves in Ayungin Shoal as a Philippine Navy officer gets whacked in the head by China Coast Guard.
The Senate impeachment court orders sweeping subpoenas targeting VP Sara Duterte and her husband's business.
Motorists brace for another blow at the pump as fuel prices climb again this week. Government attempts to cushion the hit with fuel subsidy.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. welcomes United States envoys as Manila and Washington mark a milestone in their enduring alliance.
And beneficiaries from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao receive relief as government rolls out expanded uplift program.
All these and more here on 13 News.
First in the news tonight, tensions are high in the West Philippine Sea after a Philippine Navy sailor was injured following a confrontation with the China Coast Guard at Ayungin Shoal.
The encounter also damaged a Philippine Navy rubber boat. The Armed Forces of the Philippines has condemned the incident as another act of blatant disregard for safety that endangers lives.
IBC News correspondent Bea Peniza has the full report.
This is the actual video of the confrontation between personnel of the Chinese Coast Guard and the Philippine Navy at Ayungin Shoal this morning. 8 Chinese personnel were on board the white boat, while Filipino personnel were aboard the smaller rigid hull inflatable boat. According to the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Chinese personnel unlawfully approached BRP Sierra Madre at close range. The Philippine crew calmly drove them away, but the latter reacted violently. Chinese personnel aggressively struck a Philippine Navy personnel on the head with a wooden baton, resulting in an injury and damage to the Navy's rubber boat. The injured personnel was given immediate medical attention. Despite China's aggression, the AFP said its personnel exercised professionalism. It also condemned the latest assault, describing it as a blatant disregard for safety that endanger lives. The AFP called on the People's Liberation Army and the China Coast Guard to stop their illegal and aggressive actions in the West Philippine Sea. The Chinese government has yet to comment on the incident. It is the latest attack attributed to China. This follows an AI-generated video released by news outlet China Daily, which has drawn widespread criticism for allegedly mocking Filipinos. The Chinese Foreign Ministry has already denied any involvement in the controversial video, but Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. dismissed China's response, describing it as a state-sponsored brainwashing tactics and fake propaganda.
Di basta namin paniniwalaan. Ang control na lang nila sa sarili lang mamamayan by way of censorship and by way of fake propaganda and brainwashing. Hindi tayo pwedeng magpa-loko sa mga ganyan. Maliit ang tingin nila sa sarili nilang mamamayan. Ano pa kaya sa mga dayuhan?
The defense chief also urged Filipinos to remain vigilant against disinformation. The Department of Foreign Affairs has already filed a formal diplomatic protest. Malacanang has also condemned any form of mockery for degradation of the Filipinos.
Kahit sino man sa Pilipino, hindi magiging maganda ang pagtanggap. Siguro meron lang tayo ilang opisyal na tanggap na sila unggoy, pero ang Pangulo ay hindi.
Malacanang is leaving the appropriate diplomatic actions to the DFA, including the possibility of summoning the Chinese ambassador. Bea Peniza, IBC News.
On day 7 of the impeachment trial, the Senate Impeachment Court handed down a major ruling regarding the financial records of Vice President Sara Duterte. The decision comes as both the prosecution and defense continue to clash over key evidence in the article alleging unexplained wealth. The full details from IBC News correspondent Patrick Gupo.
The Senate Impeachment Court has granted the House Prosecution Panel's request to subpoena the Bank, Tax, and Anti-Money Laundering Council or AMLAC records of Vice President Sara Duterte, her husband Attorney Manasseh Carpio lawyers, and 19 corporate entities allegedly linked to them.
The request for subpoenas directed to the concerned banking institutions covering the accounts of respondent, Attorney Manasseh Carpio, separately or jointly, the partnership of Carpio lawyers, and the 19 listed corporate entities is granted.
Presiding Officer Senator Francis Cheese Escudero said the requested records are reasonably described, readily identifiable, and prima facie relevant to Article 2 of the Articles of Impeachment, which alleges unexplained wealth. The court also overruled the defense's objection to records covering 2007 to 2021, saying this may only be used to establish a financial baseline and not to introduce new impeachable offenses. The impeachment court also granted the subpoena for AMLAC records involving the Vice President, her husband, Carpio lawyers, and the 19 corporate entities. However, the request covering two firms, namely JTC Group of Companies and Picumong Philippines Corporation, was denied after the court found no prima facie basis linking the entities to the respondents. The court likewise approved the subpoena for relevant tax records from the Bureau of Internal Revenue, while emphasizing that the issuance of subpoenas only compels the production of documents and does not automatically make them admissible as evidence. The requested records are scheduled to be submitted to the Clerk of Court on July 30 for the court's review. The House Prosecution Panel welcomed the decision, describing it as a significant step towards establishing the factual basis of the unexplained wealth allegations under Article 2 of the impeachment complaint.
We're pleased that the impeachment court, through the presiding officer, granted our twin motions for issuance of subpoena for the submission of the BIR documents, AMLAC records, and the bank records of the Vice President and her husband and their financial interest.
Meanwhile, the defense had opposed the subpoenas, arguing that the requests were overly broad and amounted to a fishing expedition. The impeachment court ruled that the documents sought are sufficiently relevant and material to the allegations currently under trial. Patrick Gupo, IBC News.
Day 7 of the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte, and the House panel successfully secured subpoenas for Duterte's bank records, tax, and anti-money laundering council records. These will now be examined as evidence to support allegations of unexplained wealth under Article 2 of the impeachment complaint. Legal expert attorney Hans Santos argues it is highly unfair for the Senate Impeachment Court to subpoena Duterte's bank records dating back to 2007. This was years before she held an impeachable office. Santos insists only financial records during her term as vice president should be subject to scrutiny. But when it comes to opening the accounts of her husband, attorney Mans Carpio, Santos says the move is justified. Under the 1987 Constitution and the Family Code, a spouse's wealth is considered conjugal property. The couple married in October 2007, making his records part of the impeachment court's jurisdiction.
The vice president and her husband got married after 1987. In 1987, the family code took effect. One of the provisions of the family code particularly provides that if you marry after 1987, the property regime of the husband and wife is absolute community. Meaning, kung ano yung kay Vice President, pag-aari din ng asawa niya. At kung ano yung pag-aari ng asawa niya, pag-aari din ni Vice President. So, dapat pwede.
Okay.
Gas up now, motorists, as oil companies are set to implement another price hike starting tomorrow. Gasoline will climb by more than 3 pesos per liter, diesel by over 10 pesos, and kerosene by more than 11 pesos per liter. This is still due to the continuing tensions between the United States and Iran. In response, the government has allocated 2.5 billion pesos to continue the fuel subsidy and service contracting program for public utility vehicles amid rising oil prices. Malacanang said the fund will help PUV drivers and operators cope with higher fuel costs. Meanwhile, the Department of Trade and Industry said there is still no increase in the prices of basic necessities and prime commodities despite the price hikes at the pump.
At this point, it's hard to speculate. It's really best for us to just wait first. And then for the oil, we will revert to the DOE for announcement on this. And for the increase, wala pa naman humingi ng price increase sa atin. So for now, there's still no price increase.
Meanwhile, the Marcos administration officially kicks off the expanded Uplift Assistance Program in Western Visayas, providing cash aid to low-income households as part of the government's nationwide relief efforts against rising fuel prices and soaring inflation. Meanwhile, the palace vows to continue the rice distribution program for the poor. IBC correspondent Ezra Abad has the story.
Luz had struggled to keep up with the cost of her maintenance medicines because of limited financial resources. Her situation changed when she learned that she was among the beneficiaries of the expanded Uplift Assistance Program in Western Visayas.
Tinalipay ako, ma'am, kay wala na ako bulong, wala na ako maintenance. Nahuya man ako maginalig kapangayo sa bata ako, kay damo man iya sa laguron. Oo, nahiya na ako.
Luz is among the 2,198 beneficiaries who received the one-time 2,000 peso cash assistance in Region 9 on its first day. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. allocated over 12 million pesos for the program. The initiative aims to cushion the impact of soaring fuel costs and rising prices of commodity on Filipino families amid renewed tensions in the Middle East war. In Luzon, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, also began the distribution of the Uplift Assistance to qualified beneficiaries of Metro Manila in Mandaluyong, Makati, Pateros, and Quezon City. Verified members of the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program, or 4Ps, Walang Gutom Program, and identified poor and near-poor families have received the one-time 2,000 peso cash assistance. Over at Visayas, the Bawat Barangay Makikinabang government program kicked off at Iloilo. Over 1,721 barangays have been given 200,000 pesos. The Office of the President allotted 344 million pesos for the program. Out of the 200,000 peso fund, 100,000 will be allocated to educational assistance to benefit 5 qualified college students who will receive 20,000 pesos each. The remaining 100,000 pesos will be designated to the barangay's priority projects. These cash assistance programs of the Marcos Jr. administration are expected to be mentioned in the upcoming 5th State of the Nation Address, or SONA, of the President. According to Malacanang, the Chief Executive will also discuss the administration's other response on the Middle East crisis.
Simple lang pero dignified ang gagawin pong pagsasagawa po ng isang national event katulad po ng SONA.
More than 20,000 police personnel will be deployed during the SONA. Ezra Abad, IBC News.
Still on the Uplift Assistance Program, following the successful rollout in several regions, the Department of Social Welfare and Development has released the schedule for the next aid distribution. Tomorrow, July 21, qualified beneficiaries in regions 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, as well as the Caraga, Barm, and the Negros Island region are scheduled to receive their assistance. Beneficiaries will receive aid through their Land Bank cash card accounts. For more information, beneficiaries may visit the official Facebook pages of DSWD and Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. welcomed two United States ambassadors at Malacanang Palace. Marcos received U.S. Ambassador to India and Ambassador of the United States of America to Philippines in a courtesy call. The meeting highlighted the long-standing diplomatic relations with the United States. Discussions focused on the advancing shared priorities for regional peace, security, and prosperity. Coming up next, two Filipino seafarers have been killed in the Black Sea amid Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Stay tuned. This is 30 News.
The Cine Bata Video Festival is calling for submission of video entries for, by, and with children. Submit videos with the theme, Hear My Voice. Deadline for submission of entries is on July 31, 2026. For details, visit or contact the following.
The Department of Migrant Workers assured that repatriation efforts are now being facilitated for injured Filipino crew members in recent drone attacks on ships operating in the northern Black Sea. This amid Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The DMW also confirmed that two Filipino seafarers were killed during the said attack. The strike also left one Filipino seafarer missing and injuring 12 others. The DMW said 9 ships carrying a total of 139 Filipino seafarers have been damaged in the drone attacks in the Black Sea. The agency assured the public that it will intensify its monitoring on the ongoing tensions.
And the DMW, as well as the OWA, have been monitoring through the license manning agencies and closely coordinating with such license manning agencies and ship principals or ship owners to ensure the safety and welfare of affected Filipino seafarers. Medical treatment, psychological support, evacuation, and repatriation arrangements are being facilitated for the crew, injured crew members, and those requiring immediate assistance.
Meanwhile, amid the ongoing tensions in the Strait of Hormuz, 4 Filipino seafarers have safely returned to the Philippines. The DMW assisted the crew members of the MVGFS Galaxy before turning them over to their licensed manning agency. While 2 more Filipino seafarers also returned safely to the Philippines from the coast of India over the weekend.
Leyte Representative Martin Romualdez says he will answer complaints once he is formally served by the Office of the Ombudsman. His camp said no criminal case has been filed before the Sandigan Bayan so far, adding that any complaint remains under preliminary investigation. They added that Romualdez respects the legal process and will face the investigation. Earlier, Assistant Ombudsman Miko Clevano said that the office is set to launch a preliminary investigation into plunder and anti-money laundering complaints against Romualdez, tied to the flood control anomaly.
The Office of the Ombudsman is set to file 2 separate complaints for preliminary investigation against former House Speaker Martin Romualdez, Mr. Elizalde, and several others. Every respondent will be given the opportunity to answer.
Meanwhile, Malacanang said President Marcos Jr. will not interfere, stressing due process even as the investigation involves his cousin.
Kung saan po pupunta ang ebidensya, sundan na lang po natin. So kung ano po ang mangyayari sa anumang pag-iimbestiga dito, hindi po makikialam ang Pangulo at tatanggapin po ito.
Rising tensions in different regions worldwide aims to resolve in the 59th ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting, together with other countries' dialogue partners this Sunday. The Department of Foreign Affairs says that the ASEAN meeting is an opportunity to settle the issue regarding West Philippine Sea. Let's have the full report from IBC News correspondent Cristalda Bezames.
The West Philippine Sea dispute, the Myanmar civil war, and the effects of the Middle East conflict. These are the priority agendas of the 59th ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting together with dialogue partners this week. The Department of Foreign Affairs sees this as an opportunity to address bilateral relations with the Chinese foreign minister on the West Philippine Sea.
We believe that this engagement is very important because not only will it address or not only will it cover the bilateral relations between the Philippines and China, but it will also have something to do with regional.
The meetings will also highlight the ASEAN 5-point consensus through humanitarian assistance to the ongoing civil war in Myanmar.
That is actually our hope for Myanmar to go back to the table with the minister representing them. And we're not only dealing with the Myanmar authorities, but with all Myanmar stakeholders.
With 27 member states joining the ASEAN Regional Forum, interventions towards the effects of the Middle East war on other countries will also be discussed. Attendees include United States, India, Japan, New Zealand, South Korea, Russia, and Australia. As we enter the second half of the Philippine chairship, the DFA believes that through ASEAN's continued engagement, ASEAN will remain united to achieve peace and security in the ASEAN region. Cristal Ramizares, IBC News.
The Philippines continues to shine on the international sports stage as the country achieved 2 historic wins. In baseball, the Philippine 12-under PG team pulled off a historic 8-4 victory over Japan at the All-Japan Championship Tournament at AOBA Nomori Field. The win marked the first time a Philippine baseball team defeated a Japanese squad on its home soil. The national team will continue its tournament campaign until July 23. Meanwhile, 2-time world champion Annie Ramirez captured the gold medal at the 10th Jiu-Jitsu Asian Championships in Almaty, Kazakhstan. Ramirez dominated the adult women's 57-kilogram division, adding another international title to her decorated career. She and the rest of the Philippine team are now preparing for the Jiu-Jitsu World Championships in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates from August 6 to 9. As Spain captured its second FIFA World Cup title over Argentina, U.S. President Donald Trump unexpectedly stole the spotlight. Trump became the first sitting U.S. president to attend a FIFA World Cup final and present the championship trophy. However, he drew widespread attention after remaining on stage during Spain's team celebration. Even FIFA President Gianni Infantino appeared to signal him to step aside for the official team photo, but Trump remained in the frame. The moment quickly went viral online, with netizens reviving the so-called Trump curse theory, which claims that his appearances at sporting events are a bad omen for teams. Meanwhile, as Spain celebrated its championship, Argentina football icon Lionel Messi became emotional after what was believed to be his final FIFA World Cup appearance. Despite earlier speculation about his future, Messi has not confirmed his retirement from professional soccer as he remains under contract with Inter Miami through 2028.
The first ever FIFA World Cup final halftime show was held during the highly anticipated match between Argentina and Spain at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. The star-studded lineup featured Madonna, Shakira, BTS, Justin Bieber, and Burna Boy. The historic performance was projected to reach a global audience of up to 2 billion viewers. 1 week after tying the knot with businessman Vincent Ko, actress Bea Alonzo says she is at the happiest point in her life. On social media, Bea gave fans a closer look at her engagement ring and wedding band, accompanied by the caption, "At my happiest." The newlywed couple got married in a private civil wedding at Makati City Hall on July 13, officiated by Makati Mayor Nancy Binay. Coming up next, the United Kingdom officially appoints its new Prime Minister. Stay tuned. This is 13 News.
Be a part of the IBC 13 family. We are looking for a human resources associate who can be part of our team. Interested applicants may email their application and resume to ibctv13hrd@gmail.com or send to Administrative Department, IBC 13, Capitol Hills Drive, corner Zuzua Regi Street, Diliman, Quezon City.
U.S. service members were killed over the weekend as tensions continue to escalate in the Middle East. Meanwhile, the United Kingdom has a new prime minister, following the appointment of Andy Burnham 4 weeks after Keir Starmer's resignation. Let's have more international developments from CJ Reyes.
2 U.S. service members were killed in Iranian strikes on an American airbase in Jordan over the weekend. Another U.S. service member was killed the following day in northern Iraq during the controlled detonation of a downed Iranian drone. The attack in Jordan prompted the U.S. to carry out a new round of airstrikes today, targeting Iranian personnel allegedly involved in the attack. The strikes also targeted bridges, electrical facilities, coastal surveillance, and air defense sites.
But we hit them very hard again tonight, and we did that in honor of the probably three as opposed to 2 great patriots.
Meanwhile, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps claimed that 2 tankers exploded and were immobilized after attempting to cross the Strait of Hormuz. The IRGC also alleged that the tankers were encouraged by the U.S. 4 weeks after Keir Starmer's resignation as British Prime Minister, Andy Burnham has officially become the UK's new Prime Minister and leader of the Labour Party. Burnham's platform focuses on social justice, expanding public services, and universal care. Meanwhile, Chinese rescuers are using explosives to clear boulders following a massive landslide in Chongqing, triggered by a heavy and continuous rain. 34 people remain missing. More than 800 rescuers along with search and rescue dogs were deployed. CJ Reyes, IBC News.
Before we wrap up tonight's newscast, we will bring you the results of the PCSO's 9 p.m. lottery draws. For the Mega Lotto 645, the winning numbers are 11, 38, 8, 5, 19, and 42 with a jackpot price of 15 million pesos. For the Grand Lotto 655, the winning combination is 29, 20, 23, 3, 14, and 40 with a jackpot price of 85,413,885 pesos and 10 centavos. For the 4D Lotto, the winning combination in exact order is 3, 7, 0, and 8. For the 3D Lotto, the winning numbers are 4, 4, and 8. And finally, for the 2D Lotto draw, the winning numbers are 31 and 8. There is no winner for the Mega Lotto 645 and the Grand Lotto 655. Tomorrow, motorists should prepare for major pump price hikes. Diesel is expected to have the biggest increase, while gasoline and kerosene are projected to go up.
Also tomorrow, foreign ministers from the Association of Southeast Asian Nations will gather in Manila for the 59th ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting. The event will bring together foreign ministers, dialogue partners, and international guests. The meeting is expected to focus on strengthening regional cooperation, political security, economic and socio-cultural community pillars.
And those were the latest from the IBC Newsroom this evening.
We'll continue to monitor the stories that matter and give you updates as they develop. I'm Angela C.
And I'm William Thio. This is 13 News. Thank you for watching. Good night, everyone.